Okay, I'm gonna sidetrack myself right off the bat. Turns out I was wrong. I don't know where I got it from. Barry Manilow had nothing to do with this song I'd like to teach the world to sing.
You didn't,
No,
that was.
I started reading on the song. And it's right out of Imagine All the People by John Lennon.
Oh,
So Coca-Cola wants this advertising campaign. They want to sell soda. So they got this group here, these people, let's see, creative director, and then the songwriters, these three are the songwriters. And they should have just stepped with this right here, because that's what it's about. Buy the world of Coke.
see, I thought they borrowed that song from someplace else.
So that's here's the irony. This La La Land. This is the guy that was in charge of the project. He says at the end of that second paragraph there, it was the real thing and it was a metaphor for peace. So how can something be the real thing and a metaphor for a piece that doesn't exist? I don't understand. But anyway, remember the Coke, it's the real thing. So they do this, they're gonna call it they were gonna call it a utopian vision or something like that, which is the closest thing to the truth about it. Struck a chord with audiences worldwide, resonated deeply, so on and so forth. I want to know the numbers. I want to know how many Cokes they sold. I want to know how many sodas they sold off of this. They don't have that. They don't have that number.
So based on the date, 1971, it was the middle of the hippie movement.
Well, it was at the end of the Vietnam.
Yeah.
It was the end of the Vietnam thing was going to close out in 72 roughly with Richard Nixon's second inauguration, which wasn't going to last that long. But anyway, became an international hit. It's a good song. There it is. So it's testament to the power of the message it conveyed in a world torn apart by war and upheaval, offered a utopian vision of global harmony.
Okay. So it did become, it started with commercial and then became a full
Yes.
song as opposed to the other way around.
Where people from all walks of life could come together and share a moment of joy and connection. That's fine. But, there's the words, right? I mean, it's utopian vision of an imaginary world. Lasting legacy, I don't know about that. I mean, you extract it away from the sodas. And it's again, still it's like utopian fantasy of a world that does not exist and will not exist short of the return of the king. Timeless appeal, okay.
Well, the world doesn't understand what peace is.
Yeah. So that's the song. That's the song. It would last about 4 seconds. The piece would, like your typical Middle East peace accord. Something between Pakistan and India. It'll last about 4 seconds.
To drink a Coke?
Reminding us that even in the darkest of times, the simple act of sharing a Coke can be a powerful force for good.
Think about this. It's the real thing, right?
Yeah.
And then when they made new Coke, then it went back to real Coke.
Classic
Coke.
Coke Classic. I remember that. That was a big mistake. It was such a big mistake. A lot of people thought it was planned, like 4D chess.
Actually, if you really went back to the original Coke, it would actually have Coke in it, so.
Okay.
Yeah, all the way back. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Early 1900s.
It's a lot.
They would sell a lot of Coke. If you want to sell a lot of soda, put an addictive drug in it.
That's why the FDA was developed.
We had electronic failure,
Electronic failure.
so we're fixing it.
Okay.
Can he help you?
Well, we're here. All right.
Okay, I'm going to continue to distract myself because I think this is worth it. We had the Bible study for Covenant Life down the street on Tuesday night. It ended with a little discussion of the law and whether whether the Mosaic law still applies in this day and age to Christians. which is an ongoing debate, because how do you get out of thou shalt not steal? So you need to be careful with, no, the law doesn't apply to me. Okay, well, what about stealing? Immediately becomes, for example, the issue at hand. And so my position is that we are no longer bound by that covenant, and that written law exists within the confines of that covenant. And so we are no longer bound by that in that covenant. We are bound in a new covenant, which superseded the old covenant, and that is explicit in the New Testament, which leaves then the question of, well, what about the law? And so I was thinking about the first two commandments in the context of Genesis 1, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and the implications of that verse, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, just list out the implications of it. And one of them is this statement right here in verse 3, and then in 4, you shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make for yourself a graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, that is on the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. And so, in this question of, are we under the law, or are we bound by the law? How does the law apply to us? Do the reverse and say, well, can I steal and be a Christian? Can I lie and be a Christian? Can I dishonor my father and mother and be a Christian? Well, if you can't, then there aren't probably any Christians. But can I covet, so on and so forth. But you get to these first two commandments, and you do that, and you're in a different ballgame. Can I have other gods before him, before the creator of all things, and be a Christian? I don't see how. Can I make for myself a graven image? Can I make an image in the form of a 4-footed animal or crawling creature and worship and serve the creature rather than the creator, who is God blessed forever? Amen. Romans chapter 1. Paul would seem to indicate, no, you can't do that. It's the great sin of humanity, is to have a God before the creator. And it doesn't matter that you claim you don't know about him. It seems to be a mandate woven into the fabric of the created order that is binding on all creatures on this planet, all sentient beings on this planet, or any other planet where sentient beings might exist. You shall have no other gods before him.
So even if you've never heard of Jesus or Moses or Abraham, there's something in people that would worship with one God.
That seems to be the message of Romans chapter 1. They are without excuse. So for a mandate on humanity, for the mandate on humanity, it would appear that you shall have no other gods before me.
You stay there. You stay there.
Binds all human beings, not just the people of God. You shall have no other gods before him. He is the creator of all things. You worship and serve the creator and no other, period. So 1 and 2 seem to be they seem to be, foundational premises of the created order itself. Woven into the fabric of the created order is there is one God. He is the creator, and all beings. I mean, remember that psalm where the psalmist calls on the stars to worship him and praise him, and all of it, all of creation exists for the benefit of the creator. And so to deny that by worshiping or serving creatures violates the very created order itself. It's a denial of the very purpose for the existence of the creation itself. And that's why I pull out these, ask the question, how does the law apply to me? do I have to keep the law? My response is, these transcend law. These are the fabric, these two are the fabric of, whatever you say about the other 8, these two are in the fabric of the created order.
What about the third commandment, then, not take the name of the Lord your God in vain?
Can you take the name of the Lord your God in vain and still be among the people of God?
Still,
the-
do not
No,
do
no. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that it is impossible to worship and serve a creature above the creator or at all and be among the people of God. That's, there, it's exclusionary. This is the people of God are the domain of those who worship and serve the creator, period. That's my point.
But it is serious because it says God will not hold him guiltless.
No, I'm just saying that the first two are, man, you may not even know the name of God. So how can you take it in vain? Right? But everybody knows the creator. That's what I maintain. Nobody gets out of ignorance of the creator is no excuse. Romans chapter 1. Ignorance is no excuse.
So,
There is one God.
clarifying my mind, are you saying that under the old covenant, they had to keep the 10 commandments in order to be saved?
What do you mean by saved?
Well,
In order to experience the blessings of the covenant, thou shalt keep my law. And here's the law. To not keep the law is to inherit the cursings of the covenant, which they eventually did when the Babylonians obliterated Judah and they were carted off the land. If you want to stay on the land where the blessings of the covenant are, this is how you do it. You keep my law. He's very, very serious about that.
But they couldn't keep them. They're sinners like us. So
They
that's
had
why
a-
they needed sacrifice.
He provided for them. Yeah. Did you want to comment on that?
I'm just trying to get my mind around what your understanding of it. First of all, I'll say this, 9 out of 10 commandments are repeated in the New Testament for believers to follow. The only one got highlighted right there, which is not repeated in the New Testament for believers to follow.
I'm not saying anything about the rest of them. My point is not to say anything. I'm not saying anything about those. I'm saying whatever you can say about those. Here's what I can say about the first 2. Those are binding on every single creature. Every single human is bound by 1 and 2,
Right,
believer or not.
the moral law.
It's in the created order. You worship your creator only. And that's it. I'm not saying anything more than I'm just, whatever the case may be with the rest of it, however we want to argue about that.
Romans 1 kind of goes along. with
Exactly.
that. It's because they refused to worship the creator, then God gave them over to this.
Exactly.
Gave them over to that, then he gave them over to that.
So that's it. Okay. I had to cut that off because we were in dangerously close to an extended discussion of what then of the law and the Christian, which I started it, so, Okay, we're in about 14 of Genesis 27. The blessing has passed from Abraham to Isaac, and it is about to pass to Jacob. There's a lot to do with Jacob to sort of formalize that. It will be formalized on his way out of it's already been decreed, but it will be formalized on his way out of Canaan to go get a wife. Well, he's going to end up getting 4 wives and then total chaos. And it'll take 20 years, but we are now in how it is, how is it that the promise, the blessing, the promise and the inheritance passed, because they go together. Inheritance includes inheriting the promise, right? So when Esau loses the blessing of inheritance, implied in that's just on the ground. He loses the stuff. Jacob is going to inherit. from Isaac. He loses the stuff. But alongside of that, at the higher level, there is a promise from God that tracks with the transmission of inheritance in this family from Abraham to Isaac, not from Abraham to Ishmael or Eliezer or any of his other servants. The inheritance will pass, and along with it will pass the promise of God. And so now with this blessing, with the blessing that's about to come through deception, not only will inheritance pass to Jacob, but also the promise. And that'll be explicit. We'll see that in a little bit. And so Jacob and Rebekah think that they can make this happen. There's no indication here that Jacob is concerned about any divine promise, or that he's even hardly aware of it. What he's concerned about is inheriting. It seems to me he wants the stuff. And he's going to pass on that gene to his sons, who are going to fight like, I don't know, meerkats. Because for some reason I know that. Why did I choose meerkats? I don't know. Wild dogs. But let's pick hyenas. I don't know. Anyway, I should just shut up.
He used to have half hour to talk, so he can't shut up.
So how it is that the blessing of the covenant, the blessing from Abraham passes to Jacob and Esau, the manner in which, not that it's going to pass to Jacob, God has already decreed that in the womb, the elder shall serve the younger. That's already been decreed. But the manner you never would have predicted the manner in which it's going to pass. You would expect that the story, if you were going to make the story up and write it, it would be, then God appeared to Jacob to Isaac in a vision and said, "Thou shalt bless Jacob," and instead of Esau. And so none of that happens. It's just all kinds of intrigue. And Isaac is sitting there kind of helpless and blind and being made a fool of by his own kids, or by his own kid. Esau didn't make a fool of Isaac. Jacob and Jacob and Rebekah, his wife, made a fool of Isaac. And that's how the blessing is going to pass. So let's get on to it. Jacob is worried about his father figuring it out and inheriting a curse instead of a blessing. It's a pure calculation. Well, I'm not like Esau. He can figure it out. What if he figures out that I'm not Esau, and he, gives me a curse instead of a blessing? And then her response is, "Let your curse be on me, my son." Well, that's all fine, Mom, but he can still curse me. He can still take all the stuff from me, So let's keep going. So now they're going to go to they're going to implement the plan, which is Esau's been told by Isaac to go hunt game and prepare a meal for him. It almost has the sense of a last meal, although we're going to find out it's not near his last meal. And so Rebekah's going to intervene and have Jacob, while he's out, because this takes a while, prepare a meal, and then he'll take it to Isaac and he'll pretend to be Esau. And then Isaac will bless and pass on the inheritance to Jacob. I don't know why they thought that Jacob couldn't, why they thought Isaac couldn't just change his mind when he figured it out and say, "No, I'm still gonna curse you, Jacob, and give the blessing to Isaac, to Esau," but he's not gonna do that. But anyway, so now it's he's been told here, he went and took them, the animals. He goes and gets two young goats. Get two good young goats, and I'll prepare them for your father, and he'll think you're Isaac Esau and so forth.
That's the question.
Yep.
So you're saying that he actually could have changed his mind? He actually could have been one?
Isaac?
Yeah.
Isaac can do anything he wants. He's the patriarch.
Okay, so I was under the impression that because he'd already blessed Jacob, he no longer blessed.
Why can't he say, "I've been deceived. I take back my blessing"? Esau gets the blessing. Why can't he do that? I don't know why, who's gonna tell him he can't?
I don't
Right, I mean,
think
he's a
that's
patriarch.
true, but, the scripture seems to indicate that, once it's gone out, it can't come back, be given back.
Or is that God? Isaac understands.
But it could be.
Isaac says, oh, I get it. Yep,
Oh.
no, Jacob, you're gonna get it. You're gonna get it. Maybe he knew something about what God said to Rebekah, the elder will serve the younger. Or maybe she did say something, but, and it doesn't matter, because at that moment, however it happened, the divine intervention is such that Jacob's gonna inherit. And God's gonna make sure that this decision, this decree stands. Romans chapter 9. Jacob will inherit.
Like you always say, you can't make this.
You can't make this stuff up. Why would you make this story up? I mean, you're writing a family lineage, a family history, and you base your entire family history on this cruel deception by the father of the 12 tribes of Israel. You know,
Well, even the word that he blesses them with has to pretty much come from God,
exactly.
because the things he said, Isaac wouldn't have been, it wouldn't have been something that he thought of himself.
Yep.
So,
I agree with that.
and
At that
it's the
point,
same, and it's the same with Joseph, with his two sons.
Yeah.
You know, Ephraim and Manasseh, you know,
yeah,
the words that he said to him came from God, not just,
there,
Jacob saying it.
there comes a moment in all three of their lives, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, where the divine will finally fuse, the human will finally conforms to the divine will at a moment. And they're on the same path, at least for a second. And this is going to be Isaac's moment, and then he will pass off the scene. And then Jacob's going to have his moment later, of a couple of them. But, yeah, there's always this divine narrative that's weaving its way through silently through the mess. And, you know, it just, every once in a while, it just works. And it keeps on going in a certain direction. The divine plan just keeps going in the way that you knew it was going to go. But it's how you get there is a mess. Yeah.
Another illustration of how great God is.
Yeah, he doesn't work in straight lines. He doesn't require neat and tidy. None of that. You know, he works in the chaos. Because I think in the chaos, you can see the divine, it's more obvious. The divine hand is more obvious. That is, no human being is responsible for this. So he went and took them, the two goats, brought them to his mother. His mother prepared delicious food, such as his father loved. Then Rebekah took the best garments of Esau, her older son, older, younger. She's in the narrative. The narrator wants everybody to know we're talking older and younger son here. Older is supposed to inherit, which were with her in the house, and put them on Jacob, the younger son, who was not supposed to inherit. And the skins of the young goats she put on his hands and on the smooth part of his neck. She put the delicious food and the bread which she had prepared into the hand of her son Jacob. Very, very deliberate on the part of Rebekah.
I noticed they say that she had the best garments of Esau in his house. And he's married already, right? So he's,
Esau?
yeah, he's and then they call it a house. I thought they lived in tents. That's just a word. that means-
I have no idea.
No word would probably mean dwelling.
Yeah.
The tabernacle. The tent. That's dwelling.
So I don't have a lot to say about that. It's funny, again, the narrative slows down. Narrator gets very, very detail oriented. He walks through the steps of the deception one after another. It's a twice told story. She tells him to go do these things. And then the narrator recites how he went and did this, this, and this. And then he came back and she did this, this, and this. Very, very deliberate and detailed. So he went into his father and said, "My father." And he said, here I am. Who are you, my son? He's already on alert. So the deception is front and center. Jacob said to his father, I am Esau, your firstborn. The entire family history of Israel is based on a lie. And there it is right there, man. It doesn't get any more lie than that right there. I am Esau, your firstborn. Oh, yeah. Genesis chapter 27, verse 19. 18. That's a lie. That's a lie right up there with any other lie. Jacob said to his father, I am Esau, your firstborn. I have done. It is 19, sorry. Esau, your firstborn, I have done as you told me. Me, I am Esau. Sit up and eat of my game. There's another lie. That your soul may bless me. But Isaac said to his son, he's old and he can't see, but he ain't that much of a fool. How is it that you found it so quickly, my son? It's like the narrator wants to highlight just the extent of the deception. So he's going to keep him lying. We already have the lie. I am Esau, your firstborn. My game. This is my game. No, mom prepared it from the flock that Isaac owns. It's not game. How is it that you prepared it? You found it so quickly, my son. Because the Lord, because now he's going to bring God into it, the deception. The Lord your God. So now he's appealing to God is God is in control of this. How do you argue with that if you're Isaac? God is in control of this. The Lord your God, not the Lord or the Lord my God, the Lord your God granted me success. Lie. That's number 3. Isaac said to Jacob, please come near that I may feel you, my son, to know whether you are really my son Esau or not. So Jacob went near to Isaac his father, who felt him and said, the voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau. Lie number 4. He did not recognize him because his hands were hairy like his brother Esau's hands. So he blessed him. Not done. Highlighting the deception. He said, are you really my son Esau? I am. There's a lot. There's a whole. No, I'm not going to tell the story about a movie. It's a Rodney Dangerfield movie. I'll tell it later at lunch or something. Then he said, bring it near to me that I may eat of my son's game and bless you. So he brought it near to him and he ate, brought him wine, and he drank. What's that about? What do I have to say about this? Kind of stands on its own. It's a nasty story. All right, keep going. So who gave him the wine? Jacob gave him the wine. Why is Jacob bringing him wine? Is he a little nervous or something? I don't know. There, it just sits right there. There's been no mention of wine up until this moment. Suddenly you can just see, I'm reading into it, but you can just imagine Rebecca standing at the door with a jug of wine going, come here.
You see Rebecca on the purpose.
Give him the wine, Then his father Isaac said to him, come near and kiss me, my son. It's almost got this Judas. It's almost got this Judas feel to it, right? You betray your master with the kiss, right? Judas comes up. It's the man who I come up and kiss. That's the man that you're going to take. It's, I kind of wonder, maybe it's the other way around, right? I wonder if that's, if you're reading the story, if you're a Jew reading the story about Judas and Jesus, and you come to that part about betraying him with the kiss, do you think of this? Do you think of Genesis chapter 27, verse 26 right here? He came near and kissed him, and Isaac smelled the smell of his garments, line number however many, and he blessed him. see the smell of my son, it's probably not the sort of thing that we would consider. It's just really different from our world. I guess this would be considered, like cologne or something. I don't know.
So he's probably with his out game, smells like game, cause he's probably killed these, the stuff he's worn, he's probably killed it and, got smell wild
Yeah.
game on it, so.
He took care of that.
Best clothes.
What were you gonna say?
It was the same, he's wearing the skin of the goats they just killed. He smells like dead thing.
Yeah,
Freshly dead thing.
yeah, but apparently it was a thing back then. So it appears that the girls like that sort of thing,
I think.
No, the girls, it's the guys.
I don't know.
Intelligence said she took a visa
Yeah.
full, so it wouldn't have been the dead goat.
He's wearing the dead goat skin. They
I mean, if
said
you're,
the goats he just killed.
If you're gonna get married, in those day and age, if you're gonna get married, do you wanna marry the guy that smells like game he hunted, or do you wanna marry the guy that smells like the lavender flowers that he rubbed on him? I don't know. I don't know. See, the smell of my son is as the smell of a field that the Lord has blessed. Here comes God again. And here it comes. May God give you the dew of heaven and of the fatness of the earth and plenty of grain and wine. Here's the important thing, right? The elder will serve the younger. That was decreed in the womb. The elder will serve the younger. Let people serve you and nations bow down to you. Be Lord over your brothers. And may your mother's sons bow down to you. So is that normal in an inheritance that the patriarch not only passes down the inheritance, but decrees that the other sons will serve the son that's inheriting? I don't know, but that to me that's where God is entering the picture right there. And then,
Also, doesn't it foreshadow Joseph, his dream and the reality?
cursed be everyone who curses you, and blessed be everyone who blesses you. That's right out of Genesis chapter 12, the original promise. I will bless those who bless you and curse those who curse you. And so you can see that not only is the inheritance passing down, whether Isaac realizes he's doing it or not, what's passing down is the promise that was made to Abraham and then was made to Isaac. Isaac is acutely aware of the promise. He probably is aware, in his mind, probably the heir will inherit not just the stuff, but the promise that was passed down to him from Abraham. So he knows, and he's doing both. Yes, you're going to inherit, and in the name of our Lord God, you will also inherit the promise that was passed down to me, that he passed down to me from Abraham.
And who does he pass the blessing down to of his 12 sons?
Jacob,
Yeah,
he passes it down to all of them. All of them will inherit. There will be 11 assigned portions of land, and then the Levites will be reserved for God himself. Now it gets really complicated because Simeon will disappear into Jacob. Dan will basically give up its inheritance for reasons that don't matter now.
Joseph received double portion.
And Joseph received a double portion. He gets removed, and in comes Ephraim and Manasseh.
But the ancient right was that the eldest received a double portion. Joseph, being almost the eldest, received a double portion.
I didn't know if it only went to Judah.
Well,
No,
Judah
no.
was,
Even if you go to to the end of a lot of those blessings that Jacob gave to his son, not all of them are necessary blessings.
yeah.
No, yeah, we'll get to those.
A downright curses like, Reuben. You
So here's
slept with
the,
my wife.
Here's the allotments. So all of this and this will be Joseph's allotment.
It's huge.
Yep. Here's Simeon. Simeon will disappear into Judah. Literally disappear, which is also decreed from Jacob. Dan will relocate, Dan will exterminate an innocent people up here and relocate from here because they can't defeat the Canaanites. So they will relocate to Dan, to a city named Laish, take it over, exterminate the people who are totally innocent. On the way, they will help themselves to an idol, Levite priest, who is a priest to the idols of a guy named Micah. And when they get to Dan, they will set up a idol worship center in Dan and the north side that will mirror the idol center in Bethel to the south, wherever that is. No.
No,
By Benjamin.
If I remember correctly, was the descendant of Moses.
What?
The priest that Dan took in that story.
Jonathan?
Is a descendant of Moses.
Z, I don't remember that one. I don't, you could be right. I don't remember that, but one way or the other. That would make sense. But anyway, it tells you the state of the Levites in the time of the judges. The Levites had descended into being basically a nomadic tribe because they had no land allotment and the Israelites didn't take care of them. They descended into being a nomadic tribe of priests who sold themselves to the highest bidder. So he went with Micah, this guy went with Micah, Jonathan with Micah, got paid by him. The people of Dan basically stole him from Micah because the Dan was a bigger, better deal. And he went up and set up that altar up in Dan and to the north. It's beyond the scope. That's why I talked about it just now, because it's beyond the scope of our discussion. Let's see. Okay. That's wow. That's something, isn't it? You got to read it slow and let it sink into you. The magnitude of what's going on right there. And that, you know, it's almost, it's disturbing to think that God works like that through events like that. But if he's gonna, I've said it before, if he's gonna work through, if he's gonna wait for human virtue and only work through human virtue, he's got a long wait. So,
Earlier you said, no human is responsible. Along with that, no human can take credit.
exactly, yeah. That's Romans 9 as well. That it does not depend, so that it does not depend on man, it depends on God. To God be the glory. All of that. All of that goes into the statement, to God be the glory. Because there are no glorious human beings. The closest thing we have to a not count, the only glorious human being is Jesus. Other than that, you know, Enoch comes out pretty good. But boy, after that, a long way down to second place.
So many people in the world have no idea that the very reason that anything exists or that they exist is for God's glory.
Yeah, the history of human history is the history of redemption. This line of redemption, this line of divine plan right here continues above the human. You got the human narrative here, and you have the divine narrative weaving in and among it, and that's no less true right now than it was back in this day. It's just we don't think of it that way. He's always at work, everywhere, accomplishing whatever it is that he wants to accomplish. And we don't know the half. The expression is you don't know the half of it. But compared to what you don't know about God's plan, you don't know anything. That's what I've said about the human brain, DNA, you know, the human brain. We think we know a bunch about the human brain. But compared to what we don't know about the brain, we don't know anything. Okay, 30 to 38. As soon as Isaac, oh, it's going to go fast here. As soon as Isaac had finished blessing Jacob, when Jacob had scarcely gone out from the presence of Isaac, his father, he's heightening the tension again in the sense of deception here. Esau, his brother, came in from his hunting. He also prepared delicious food and brought it to his father. And he said to his father, "Let my father arise and eat of his son's game, that you may bless me." His father Isaac said to him, "Who are you?" And he said, I am your son, your firstborn, Esau. Go back up. Who are you? I am Esau, your firstborn. Who are you? I am Esau, your firstborn. Isaac trembled terribly. Isaac trembled very violently and said, who was it then? And probably he trembled because for a number of reasons, one of which is he already knows that the blessing that he's just given is irreversible. You would think he'd be angry, but he's just traumatized. Said, who was it then that hunted game and brought it to me? And here it is. Here's the decree. And I ate it all before you came, and I have blessed him, yes, and he shall be blessed. He already has decreed it. He's already saying, doesn't matter. I know it was by deceit. Doesn't matter. That blessing I'm not taking back. As soon as Esau heard the words of his father, he cried out with an exceedingly great and bitter cry and said to his father, bless me, even me also, my father. But he said, your brother came deceitfully, in case there was any question, and he has taken away your blessing. It's a zero-sum game, right? If there's $10, if there's a $10 bill, only one of us can have it. So we can fight about it, but you can't tear it in half and get each person get half.
What, excuse me, why though? It's big, how do I phrase? There is a point that the messed up, so let Esau go get, oh, sorry.
That's okay.
No, it's basically your fault, so let's do right and everything, you know?
I think that's, yes. So that was the original, the question is then, why couldn't, if I understand, Nate, why couldn't Isaac just change his mind and say, hey, I've been deceived. I'm gonna take away the blessing from Jacob and give it back to Esau. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah,
Yeah. And the answer is the divine plan. And Isaac knows it. God has decreed. We have that. Why can't this happen? And the answer is a couple chapters earlier. One chapter. Where is it? Where are they born? 25? No. Yeah. This is why. That blessing will not be, excuse me. I've started sneezing louder lately. I don't know what it is. I hope it's not,
I think it's allergy season.
sneeze cancer or something, Anyway, that's the reason, in my view, Nate, right there. The elder will serve the younger. So we have this decree of God in the previous chapter, 2 chapters earlier, in 25. That's the decree. So there's no possibility from there's no possibility from the narrative standpoint that this blessing right here will revert to Esau. Now, the sort of academic question, well, could Isaac have reverted the blessing and given it to Esau? Well, it's a moot point. There's no point in asking the question. It's an academic question. It's decided. It was decided in the womb. And all you're seeing right here is the events on the ground lining up with God's decree in the womb.
So Isaac is like saying, okay, I should have done what my wife told me and blessed him to begin with. Yeah, I'm assuming she told me.
I don't know what we can assume about how this family worked. I mean,
Well, it's like there was a lack of trust in the Lord, because weren't Isaac and Jacob and Rebecca all aware of what you read and you backed up? That
it is not mentioned after it is
No.
told to Rebecca.
We don't know that she communicated it to Isaac.
We have no idea.
oh,
Now, if you're Rebecca, are you gonna go tell the patriarch? against all tradition and history, and that's sacred, that the eldest son inherits, especially the son that Isaac, that's part of the point, right? Which son does Isaac naturally favor? Esau. He wants Esau. If you're Rebecca, are you gonna go tell him to take away the inheritance from your favorite son, who's kind of a man's man? You know, and give it to my favorite.
But you think that Isaac and his whole life would have been prepared for that? Because he wasn't the oldest son of Abraham.
You're asking a father to curse one son on purpose then, though.
Well, I think that's part of the surprise. This is kind of Esau's point, right? To Laura's point. Whoops, what just happened? Isaac, Laura's channeling Esau here. Wait a minute. That's fine, but can't you give me a blessing too? Why can't I also get a blessing? Why do I have to have a curse? Bless me also. It's a zero-sum game. There's only one blessing. And if you don't get a blessing, you get a cursing. That's what Isaac is saying right here. He just, and then I think Esau at this point realizes it. So he's going to say, have you not reserved a blessing for me? No, you didn't hear me. Jacob took your blessing. There's only one blessing.
Maybe the point
That's
is
it.
that it's not man's blessing to give, but God's.
That's exactly right. However, whatever you think of the manner in which it happened, the end result is that God wins. Jacob is going to be the heir. So Nate, that's my answer. That's kind of roundabout, but
And Rebecca should have.
No, it's okay.
was I in the ballpark of what you think?
Actually, I know stuff right now, and yes, basically, there is a point that you believe what you believe, and that's the truth of this one. Yeah, sorry,
Okay.
sorry. Well, not sorry. It's frustrating, but we'll keep on keeping on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there comes a point when the human will and agency gives way to the divine will, and he kind of muscles his way in there. He just elbows his way in there and he gets his way. That's it.
Right, and I don't know why, but God is trust God, basically.
The impossible had to happen. The elder will serve the younger in the womb. It's been decreed. Well, he's already in the womb. He said Jacob's going to inherit. Isaac's the eldest. I mean, Esau's the eldest. He can't inherit. Now you already know there's an impossible situation coming up. How on earth is the younger son going to inherit? Well, this is how it happened. So we got to stop right there.
Thank you, Gary.
But we'll clean this up afterwards and then move on to.
Covered a lot.
Yep. All right. That's it. Okay. Nate, yep. Gabe, see ya. Nate, thanks for your input. See y'all later.
No problem.